Welcome to Makeup Mugwump. My name is Leanne, and today let's do a get ready with me. This is one of my favorite go-to bases, and then also I've got a couple of limited edition products from Sanrio and Wet and Wild. I got to pick those up from Ulta. So let's get started. We are going to do our hair later, so it's air drying right now. And push all that back. And we'll start with a product that I got. Ulta has several times a year, they have a sale that they don't necessarily advertise. And I found out about it on Reddit. So one of the things that I follow on Reddit are makeup subreddits to let me know when sales are. So I found this one. It's a NYX lip oil. Has a slight floral scent, which I don't love, but it's not overpowering and it dissipates. So I always put this on at the beginning of my makeup routine. This is the color Sheer, and it is sheer. And we'll pop these off. I've already done my skincare and my SPF. So we're going to start with a primer, one that I got from Shop Miss A, which is a discounted it's not really discounted, it's just already inexpensive. And they have several different lines of inexpensive makeup. Things like LA Colors and Santee, but they also have their own line. So the AOA Studios, this is their hydrating primer. It's called Aqua. You do not get a full ounce. You get 0.67 ounces. So it's not, it is $1, but you don't get the standard amount, but it's pretty good. I always put on my primer with a brush. I started using a brush for skincare a few months ago, and it is absolutely liberating. For so long I thought you had to put it on with your hands. I don't know why, but I did. And since starting to put it on with a brush, I'm so much more happy. I still use the excess from my skincare brush on the backs of my hands like I would do when I was using my fingers to apply my skincare. So I'm still getting all of those skincare benefits on the backs of my hands. You can tell aging by your face, but also by your hands. So I always use whatever excess skincare I have on my hands, including SPF. Put that primer on. It is not silicone-y. It is hydrating, but it is not oily in any way. Put that on everywhere. The next product I'm going to use is a BB cream. I always, in the summer especially, I pile on the SPF. One of the ways that I do that is by wearing SPF and then also products that include a decent amount of SPF. This is the Purlisse BB cream. I received it in a BoxyCharm in the incorrect color. I contacted Purlisse, the company, and they so nicely sent me the color that would match me, which is in light. And it's an SPF 30, which I appreciate during the summer. Wear SPF year round, but I definitely appreciate it more during the summer because I do find that I pick up more color in the summer, that I'm outside a little bit more, and I go outside frequently for checking on the dogs and walking around the yard and things like that. So I'm outside a little bit more than I would be in the winter, so I always like to put on a little bit more SPF. I'm using an e.l.f. brush. I think it's about $6. It's their blending brush, and I use that to kind of get the product onto my face, and then I'll use a sponge to blend away those brush marks on my face. Sponge that I'm going to use is also from Shop Miss A. It is their paw paw, as in dog paw, or cat paw line of products. They not only sell inexpensive products, but they also partner with charities in their area. They are in Texas, in the United States, and they partner with those charities to donate a portion of the proceeds of the sales of certain items. And this sponge is already dampened, and it is shaped like the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. It's shaped in the same way with a flat cut edge and then a pointed bottom. The sponge retails on their site for $1.55, and they donate, I believe, the 55 cents to the charity, and the charity benefits animals. They also have an education charity for children that they have another line of products that donate for that. So that website is shopmissa.com. The headband also comes from Shop Miss A. I like that site a lot, but I think the reason why I have so many differing products from there is I like to try products, but also they're inexpensive, so I don't feel guilty buying new things to try. But also, their free shipping threshold is $35, and for some reason I just can't abide to pay shipping. So I will purchase 35 items if they're $1. And so I have all manner of things to try. Most things work out. Some things are better than others, but it works out. So one of the items that I bought from an Ulta sale online is a foundation that I can't remember who it was who thought this would be a good foundation to try. It might have been Emily Noel, but I saw this weekend that Tara from Tara Babies uses this as a concealer and an eye primer, and so I thought I'd give that a whirl today. It's that Covergirl and Olay, the Simply Ageless. It's the one with the swirl, and it's in a pot. You screw the lid off. It's in a pot, and it has the Olay swirl with the foundation color. It does include hyaluronic acid, which I'm a fan of. It does have some sunscreen in it. It's a 28 SPF, and it is in the color Ivory, which is what I usually get the lightest color in almost anything. But I'm gonna try it as a concealer today and an eye primer. So she's not very thick, but she's got decent coverage. I have used this as a foundation for about a week now, and I do like it. It does tend around hour 8 and 9. It starts to kind of separate on my chin a bit. Not too much anywhere else. I do get a little bit oily in my T-zone by hour 9 or 10, which seems kind of excessive to expect something to last that long, but that's how long it's got to last on me for my day. So we'll try this as an under eye concealer, and I'm assuming that because it is such a hydrating product, because it has the Olay swirl with the hyaluronic acid among other things in it, that we will try that. We'll see. Let's try it as an eye primer. Tara is one of my favorite YouTubers. I enjoy the fact that she unabashedly hauls whatever she wants every single week. She's a grown woman. She can do what she wants. She has a huge makeup collection and makes no apologies for it, which I appreciate. But also, she, in the past, has done vlogs on her horses and all the work that she does on her horses and riding, and she's a lot of fun to watch. All right, let's see if we can blend this out just a bit with our sponge. It's damp but not soaking wet. So with these sponges, if you've never used a damp makeup sponge, it seems a little counterintuitive, because why would I put water on my face? But you're not putting water on your face. You're taking off excess product, and the consistency of the sponge, or the texture of the sponge, removes any other kind of texture on your face, like for example from a brush stroke or even finger marks of you trying to blend something out. So next up, let's get my under eyes powdered. I'm going to use a product that I actually bought the full size of, but I'm still using my sample until it's gone. So this is that Bye Bye Pores pressed powder from IT Cosmetics. It looks terrifyingly white. It does not come off as an opaque powder, but it is brightening for me, but it does blur my pores, and I want to do that more on my powdering than I actually do on my priming. I find that a lot of my pore filling primers don't mix well either with my sunscreen or my skincare or my foundation, and I get the pilling, the balling up of product, which I cannot abide that. And so I do my pore filling after as opposed to before. And another product from Shop Miss A that I enjoy is it's a sponge that is a velvet sponge, so it has a different texture than their regular Paw makeup blending sponge. But this I use for powder. Again, seems crazy, but it works really, really well. This one I've just cleaned, so it's a little bit bigger. I use it dry. It's not soaking wet. I wrung it out until it was very, very dry. But I typically use this for powder underneath my eyes, I can use a brush and I can use other puffs. I have several other kinds of puffs, but I like this texture for this specific powder. A lot of times I find if I try a product and I don't like it, it's not necessarily the product. It could be the product. It could also be the way in which I applied the product or the other products around that aren't meshing with it. So it could be a variety of things. So I try not to give a split decision on a product that I'm not sure that I really love. I try to use it with different items just to see whether or not the application process is what's causing it to fail or not be a favorite, or if it's the other products that I use it with. So I attempt to do that, and it works fairly well. I usually can make a product work. A lot of times if I've spent money on a product, I definitely want to use that product. I feel guilt with throwing things away. I do, however, pass things along to friends and family that I want, that I know that I'm not going to use or that I don't really love, and see if they can make it work for them. Next up for me is powder. I'm going to powder with the Wet n Wild Pressed Powder Compact. Y'all, I've hit pan. That's actually massive for me because I do not powder throughout the day. I powder once and then that's it. And I mean, I have a lot of surface area to cover, but I do want to make sure that I'm using the products that I have, and I have a lot of products. And so hitting pan on something is big for me. So just take the moment with me and appreciate it. Has a weird pan, which is cool. I didn't even know what it would look like. I haven't seen anybody pan this. I know that folks have panned this before, but those of you who don't know, panning is when you try to use a product up until you see the pan or use it all the way up. And I'm a fan of the idea of using all of your products. I'm going to use it with like a no-name brush that probably came from something like TJ Maxx, a big old powder brush. And I use oddly enough, I think it's the warm. Yes, it's the warm light one. I'm not a warm person, but I don't mind this powder. So I start by pressing it in, and then I'll kind of buff it out a little bit. I'm not necessarily using this for coverage. I have other products, other pressed powders or powder foundations that I use for coverage. I want to just set my BB cream so that it is easy to blend other powders over top. And I am able to do that with this powder. All right, so next up, let's do some brows. Y'all, I have used this brow pencil since before time, Eternium. This has rubbed off all indications of the brand, the color, the anything. I got it in a BoxyCharm 17 years ago approximately. It has a spoolie at one end and it is disgusting. I've cleaned it multiple times so much that I've broken it, but it's holding on. I've cracked both caps. I have done unspeakable horrors to the end with the actual product on it because there are two different size caps. Y'all, I can't figure out which end goes on which thing, but I have so little left. So I'm going to use this bad boy up. It is some sort of brown. I believe this was, I think it was a Winky Lux product, y'all, but I don't know. It has been so long since I received it. It had a gold pattern. If this is ringing a bell to you, then that's what I'm using. If it's not, it's just a brow pencil. It is one of those triangular shapes that it's thicker on the base of the triangle. It's a little bit modified as a triangle. It's not so harsh, but it does have a thinner pointed end, and then it has a thicker base. And I'm just going to run it through. I have fairly consistently growing brows. I have a couple of scars in my brows that are near the tail end from some piercings back in the day. And so those have scarred beautifully, but they're at the end of my brows. Have a little bit of sparseness in the front of my brow. I just quickly fill it in. I am not one to spend an inordinate amount of time on my brows. I do enjoy some, let's see, is it the right end? Yes. Some pomades and brow powders and such. And when I want to take my time, I do like to do that. But today we're just gonna quickly do that. Next up is a brow It's a brow fiber gel. I believe it is a Milani Easy Brow fiber gel. Also, most of the writing has rubbed off of this. This is in soft brown 01. It has a smaller brush than a mascara one, but not one of the teeny tiny ones. And it does have some fibers. It does a little bit of hold. It's not too crazy, but it's also older than sin. I believe I picked this up when the Kmart in my town was closing, and I believe I got it for a few pennies, and I thought, oh, that'll be cute, I'll try that out. And now 1500 years later, I'm still stuck using it because it is the never-ending brow gel, but it works pretty well. So brows on. Let's do some bronzer and some blush. I have a couple of different angled brushes that I use for bronzer and blush, and one of them is, I believe, maybe Coastal Scents, BH Cosmetics. Fill in your favorite Chinese brand of brushes. I got a roll from Haute Look. Remember when everyone was on Haute Look? I got a brush roll from them. This is the only brush that's stood the test of time. It is simply an angled brush, and I'm going to use one of the items that came into my BoxyCharm this month. It's the Ace Beaute bronzer, contour, whatever, bronzed in paradise palette. I like the pattern on the front. That has nothing to do with the products on the inside. There is a mirror, and there are 4 colors. I'm going to use the lightest because I'm very pale, and I am not like a super contour. Like I have a round face. I'm a fat girl, and so I'm not going to try to pretend like I am skinny on my face, but I do want some color, and I want it in the traditional places that you would bronze. So this is not contouring for me. This is bronzing, but I do like some contour products that are classified as contour, but I like them in order to bronze because I like them. So I do what I want. It's makeup. I do whatever I want. So I'm going to use the lightest color, and I'm going to start on my cheek a little bit higher than where the underneath of my cheekbone would be. Again, I'm not contouring, so I'm not trying to carve out anything here, but I am going to do my hairline. I have one of those modified widow's peaks that throughout time has morphed in different shapes, but I like to bronze around my hairline and then connect it over my temples into the cheek bronzing. I don't want to bring it down way too far. Again, I have really round cheeks, and I don't mind that. There's some folks that like to contour away their rounded cheeks. They don't want to emphasize the roundness of their cheeks. I don't care. I'm married, and I ain't trying to get no man with no products on my face. I want to make the palette, or I want to use my face as a palette for my creativity every day. And so one of the things that I like to do is emphasize my cheeks and how chubby they are, because they're not going away anytime soon. So one of the products that I have that is limited edition that I just got that I'm gonna try today, one of the 2 of them is that Sanrio Wet n Wild. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Like, so I grew up with Hello Kitty. I'm obsessed. And this is it's not a Hello Kitty. She's not the character that's featured on this. My Melody and Kuromi are the characters that are featured in this collaboration with Wet n Wild. This is what they call their Blushlighter palette. So you've got two more traditional blush colors and then 2 highlighting colors. And you've got the My Melody heart in the top highlighter, and then you have the Kuromi skull down in the bottom. This bottom blush, y'all, is a little like you get punched in the face if you are fair and you use too much. I tried it before I washed my face the day that I got it. That's another thing that I do is when I get new makeup in the mail, or if they get delivered to my house, or I pick them up, I always try it with other makeup already on my face right before I'm about to wash my face, so I get to try out something new, but without the commitment of wearing it all day or messing up anything underneath. So that's the thing I do. So I'm gonna actually use probably they have names, how cute. Call Me Nice blush. This is Honey Bunny highlighter, Friendly Rivals, and Don't Call Me Naughty. So I'm gonna probably use Call Me Nice as my blush today, and then I'll highlight likely with Friendly Rivals. I like it. It's a pinky tone. The brush that I'm going to use for my blush is one of those It Cosmetics brushes for Ulta, and it came with an Alex and Annie bracelet, which I don't wear, but I wanted the brush, and it was less than, I think, $15 when I got it. But it is much less expensively made. It's not very heavy at all. It's very lightweight, but I love the It brushes, and this is one of those angled blush brushes that I like, an angled brush. So I'll tap into the product a couple of times. I have a washcloth it's one of the ones from Walmart. It comes in like an 18 pack for like 13 cents or what. It's not really, but it's very inexpensive, and they're very rough, which is what I like. So I have a washcloth that is always down in the area that I do my makeup so that I can tap off brushes. I can quickly change colors of eyeshadow brushes, or if I wanted a different color of blush, I can quickly swirl this on that washcloth. And because it is so textured and rough, I would not want to wash myself with it because it's so rough, but I do want to, it does actually remove color from your brushes really, really easily. So I always have one down. We wash them every week with the whites in the laundry. It's never stained anything, but they do get stained over time with things like my foundation, or if I have too much something on my hands, I just wipe it off. And so it does get stained, but they're only used for my makeup. So they're my makeup. And I've had an 18 pack for probably 7 years, and I haven't even begun to use the second half of the pack. They'll last me forever. So anyway, tap that off real quick, and then let's blush with this blush. I haven't used this on my actual face without other products underneath it. So I'm a blusher way up and then bring it down, and then I do the thing where you make the apple and I do the swirl, because again, I do like my cheeks to be emphasized. It's just one of those things I like on myself. And let's highlight. I have a Real Techniques Duo Fiber contour brush. It's a little wispy whites at the top, and we'll use that highlighter from the Sanrio palette, and we'll highlight a little bit. This is not like a super blinding, but it is slightly pinky toned. There are no visible glitter particles, but there are micro shimmers in it, and believe me, I'll buff all this stuff out in just a second. So I'll highlight in all the places that I highlight. I'm not a precise highlighter in a lot of places. I don't highlight my chin because, again, I am slightly oily near the end of the day, and my foundation will break up down there, so I don't end up highlighting. It will be highlighted by my natural dew throughout the day. So we got all that on. Let's buff it out. This is one of those, this is a brush line from AOA Studios. I feel like I'm a commercial for them, but I'm not. It's their little bamboo handle, their little wooden handle line, and it's a little short stubby dude. It's called an F26, but it's great for it is great for buffing things out, making sure there are no harsh lines. It's super soft, bendy. I wouldn't necessarily put on liquid foundation with this type of brush. I would use powder with this, but I use this one. It just sits over to the side. I don't have a specific purpose for it except to blend everything out that's currently on my face. So let's blend all the places, and I just blend pretty aggressively so that I don't have any harsh lines anywhere, and make sure everything is all melted together. We're going to do another powder on top of everything else. I do a finishing powder. I'm one of those girls, but just want to make sure everything is blended together, and then I like that. Next up, let's actually do that finishing powder, and then we'll spray. I have a hair. So I use a finishing powder. I have a variety of finishing powders that I like, some that I actually love. I usually keep near me a finishing powder that is kind of a neutral, meaning that it doesn't lean very warm or very cool. I usually have a pinky one, and then I have a more golden one. And depending on, usually I kind of match it to the color of my blush, which is indicative of the color of my eyes, whatever I'm going to do. I usually either go all warm, all cool, or some sort of neutral in between. With my makeup every day, I sort of have an idea, either based on the eyeshadow palette that I want to use, or a blush that I want to use, or a new lippy that I want to use, and then I go from there. So one of the things that I do is match my finishing powder to the tone of what I'm doing. Today, the pinky one that I use, I have two pinky ones. One of them is a Makeup Revolution product. I use their, it's a finishing powder that they have. It's beautiful, and they have a couple of different colors in it. I have all of the colors in it. The pinky one busted because I traveled with it. It was a baked product on a slab on a tile, and so it was raised. It completely separated and then began to disperse itself among all my luggage. So I stopped traveling with it and left it here at home. I crushed it and put it into another powder container that had one of the mesh lids. I'll show it to you one day. Anyway, it's a Becca powder that I used all the way up. I saved the container so that I could use it for that. That's usually my go-to pinky one. But the other one, I'm trying to go through my stash. Even if it's limited edition, I still use it. And This is the pinky powder I'm going to use today. It's a Trolls powder from MAC. They did a collab with Trolls. Why wouldn't they? Because those two fandoms overlap frequently. Well, they did for this person anyway. It's called Play It Proper, but it's essentially a beauty. They call it a beauty powder, but it had there's a troll in it. It's not out, but it's a pinky finishing powder. I'm going to use my same powder brush that I used, and I swirl pretty liberally. This is not something that you can see technically on the skin, and in a finishing powder you shouldn't be able to see it, but it should help blend things out. It also gives a sheen if it's got any kind of luminosity to it. Most of mine do. This one has a little bit, not a ton, but I'll use that. And then let us spray one of my weaknesses on this planet, aside from anything to do with cosmetics, obviously, but is setting sprays or any kind of facial sprays, priming sprays, refreshing spray. It's a spray you spray on your face. It is completely not a thing that you need. But if you love it like I do, here's one that's good, and it's currently on sale at Ulta. It's the Morphe Continuous Setting Spray, which is fabulous. It's a great one. I've used a couple of these completely up, which is, it's an odd thing to use one of these up because you never know when you're going to be done because you can't hear it. Trips me out. But this one is this one is a special limited edition, whatever. It's the half size, and it is limited edition with Saweet. I don't know who that is, but this is the peach scent, y'all. I don't really like fragrance things for my face, but this is amazing. It's probably the finest mister you will ever have. Unfortunately, this is not, it's aerosol, so you can't like refill it with anything else to continue to use the bottle. I'm like that. If I like something, I'll keep pouring other things in and using the bottle. But anyway, this is the peach one. I can't. Oh, I left my fan in the other room. I usually have a delightful fan that I fan myself with to let that sink in. So this will take away, those of you who don't use setting sprays or any kind of facial mist after you put on your base makeup, or anytime. You can do it before for priming, in the middle, after. We'll probably finish with it because I like the smell so much. It smells like the gummy peaches, like the ones with the, oh, so it smells really well. So I think I bought two more. I think I bought two more. But they're only in the little half size. I wish they were in like the jumbo, gigantic Tresemme, you know, the hairspray. I wish they sold it because I would, you know, I'd have a keg of this out back to refill. But anyway, so I use it in the middle of when I finish with my base makeup to kind of take the powderiness away, because I've put a lot of powder on my face, but also to kind of meld everything together. And the Morphe spray works really well for that. There are a couple of different scents of it. Jeffree Star had one. It was supposed to be a strawberry scent. I have that. It does not smell like straw. It doesn't even smell like snozberries. I don't know what it smells like. It's a little off. The traditional scent of all of them have fragrance. So the traditional scent of the original Morphe continuous setting spray is not offensive. It's not floral, which I appreciate because I don't love floral on my face. But it's not bad. But it is scented. I mean, it's not like Huda Beauty scented, but it's pretty scented. Okay, let's do eyes. So the other limited edition thing. There's story time. So the one we're going to use is the My Melody eyeshadow palette. So in this limited edition release with Sanrio and Wet n Wild, there's two eyeshadow palettes, one for Kuromi, one for My Melody. There was the blush palette. There were a couple of brushes. There's two lip stains, liquid lipsticks. There was one for each character, a lip gloss for each character, a bag, which is like double-sided. One side is My Melody, one side, you don't care, but I'm telling you because I love this collection. One side for My Melody, one side for Kuromi. Those I had to order from the Wet n Wild site because they were already sold out on Ulta. And so this is available still on the Wet n Wild site. You can buy the whole collection on the Wet n Wild site right now, like the box that like people get in PR, so that you could look fancy. I bought them piece by piece, but I was foolish to do so because my Ulta box came and it had both eyeshadow palettes, the blush palette, and a couple other items in it, a handful of items, and it came in a box the size of your 10-gallon kitchen garbage can. It was a huge box, and they had the few items thrown in the bottom. And then they packed the rest with the giant air pack bubble things. And of course, the black eyeshadow in my Kuromi Wet n Wild eyeshadow palette completely disintegrated into a black fine coating sooty powder all over every item in the box. All in the box, all on the air bubbles. And that black eyeshadow went all over all of the items in the eyeshadow palette. So it's completely destroyed. And it is salvageable with a lot of work. I decided it wasn't worth the work. So I contacted Ulta. They agreed to replace it, but they couldn't because it was sold out. I went on the Wet n Wild site, purchased the Kuromi eyeshadow palette because I can't be without. This dust smells like strawberries. It's amazing. This is the My Melody. It has, they have actual names on the back of the palette. Go, Wet n Wild Go. And a few of the shadows have her little heart imprint in it. There are a variety of mattes and kind of chunky shimmers. There's some that look a little bit more metallic. Some of them are a little bit chunky. I have dug in a little bit to it, but not a lot. So let's do that today. I'll use a variety of brushes, most of which are unnamed, but a couple to mention is there are a couple from the Harry Potter. I just sound like a fan person today, but it's true. I enjoy cute makeup, cosmetic things that lap over with my obsession with other things. So I bought them. These are from the Deathly Hallows Harry Potter makeup collection that Ulta had. I have a video of the 4 palettes and swatching all those. And then I have just a variety of other eye brushes and such, most of which come from my BoxyCharm stuff because I don't go out specifically to buy brushes unless there's something like special, because I have a ton already. I just need to wash them, which will probably not happen anytime soon. So I'm going to start with I'll start with a couple of different kind of setting shades. I'll start with the white matte. And so our cute CoverGirl foundation hadn't creased too bad, which is nice. I'll set the very top with a white. I don't usually do any kind of sparkly brow bone highlight. I don't like that look. For myself. You do you, baby. I do a sparkly inner corner, and I have another product that I've been using for that recently to try it out. But I do try to start with a light matte white or cream shade on the top of my eyelid, and then I'll go in with transitions, more than one transition typically, and then into my crease. I kind of work from the top down. Some people work from the lash line up. I work from the top down mostly, but you do you. Okay, so if I have that lightness up at the top near my brow bone, it acts as my brow bone highlight, but it also acts as an upper transition. I am incredibly fair, and so a white doesn't do anything dramatic for me. It does lighten the area a little bit, but this is not like an opaque white. I sheared it out a bit, and then I go with my transition color. I think today we'll go, oh, they have names. Cookie Day. Wasn't that a lovely day? Cookie Day. It seems to be a kind of a light blushy matte transition. I have found with many palettes like this that the color you think you're going to get is not the color that's going on your eyes. So let's see what color it turns out. It could be coral, could be pink. Well, it's a little bit pinky. It's a little bit light. Yeah, it's pinky, which this is a pink themed palette, but it's not too pinky. So I have terrible eyesight, so I have to use a handheld mirror or be right up on a mirror in order to see myself to do makeup. So I will almost always have a hand mirror. I used to have the kind of mirrors that you would buy in a drugstore that just had very short legs that sat upon your desk, and I was always picking it up and picking it up and picking it up because I'd have to get closer to it and I didn't want to stoop down. And so I ended up thinking, oh, maybe I'll get a hand mirror because I saw so many people using them, and it's perfect. I should have had one 10 years ago, but here we are. Very dusty in the pan, but I don't mind that. Let's see what. So again, I work from the top down. So I have a white color. I have a transition color. I usually work in a color on the outer corner of my eye if I'm doing just an everyday kind of makeup look. I'm not doing anything wildly colored, which I do about half of the time. It's wildly colored. Half of the time it's a neutral type of makeup. And when I do a neutral type of makeup, I don't typically stray from my go-to placement of colors on my eye. So I do a light cream or white. I do a matte medium tone for me, which for a lot of people would be a light tone, transition color, and then I put a darker color of whatever variety on the outside corner and kind of blend it into the transition color into my crease, and then I put some sort of shimmery something on the lid. That's my go-to all the time, every day. 9 times out of 10, I do nothing on the lower lash line. I have an eye shape that I don't particularly like to emphasize when I'm doing just a neutral look. If I'm doing an all-out color look, I'll do eyeliner all around and all that. We'll do that another day. But for today, let's pick a kind of a darker color for the outer corner. For that outer corner, I can do matte or I can do shimmer. I don't mind a bit of shimmer in the crease, especially if it blends out in a darker. So let's do that. Let's do this darkest shimmer here at the bottom, and I believe that's going to be Cutie Pie. So I take a brush that's a flat packer brush. A lot of people, an eyeshadow brush, just a flat one to place the color, and then I'll go back and blend. So I will place that color on my outer corner and blend it about, well, not blend it, but move it about probably a third of the way, a quarter to a third of the way in. I have hooded eyes, so when I open my eyes, you don't see the color. So I'll have to keep my eye open and put a little bit of the color, if I want it to show with my eyes are open, I'll put a little bit of the color above where that would be. For me, it is way above the crease, but that's okay. That your own eye shape dictates what you do. You don't have to follow any rules. If your own eye shape is what should be steering you to do the techniques that work for you. So if one of your favorite people that watch, they don't have hooded eyes, but you do, you ain't gonna be able to do all that they do and it turn out the same way. You can use a lot of their techniques, but you'll likely have to adapt. So I'm way above where my crease is with that darker color, and it's not that dark because I have used most of it off of my brush. So but when my eyes are open, you can actually see that color, and that's what I want out of this look. So I'll go back in again. This is a metallic-y shimmery shade. I'll do the other eye real quick. I always put it on my lid first, and then I open up and see where I want it to go, and then fill in from there. Now again, we haven't blended, so I do this frequently with my makeup. I'll apply it, and then I'll blend it in another step. So calm down. Okay, I'll take my transition eyeshadow brush. It's a little bit fluffier and a little bit more pointed, and I will then blend. I'm going to use windshield wiper motions and then small circles, and I'll blend that into my transition. And if I think there's too much of a color difference, I will add some more of that initial matte transition color Cookie Day that I use, but I think it's blending fairly well. And I'll just blend till my wrist hurts. Not really. Yeah, I think it's pretty well blended. So now there is still a continuation of the color from the outer corner, but it's not too bad. Let's blend the other side. When I do a neutral eye, it is fairly quick. This is not fairly quick because I'm recording and talking, but it's fairly quick. All right, it's time for the shimmer shade. So I have lots and lots and lots of favorite lid shades, either in singles and other palettes, but let's try one from this palette today because why not? Looks like Pound Cake is the lightest, shimmeriest, champagne-iest, fill in all the blankiest, a little bit chunky, but it's okay. So I'll use my finger with the shimmer shade because it is my preference. I also bring my shimmer shade up here, up into the beginning part of my lid, upper lid. Like I bring it way up. I like that look. If I am doing a look that the palette doesn't have a strong shimmer shade, or I will always pick up one of my Pat McGraths and put one of her little special shades on the end, you know the ones, and just tap that bad boy on there, and then it becomes glittery. I like it to be, this is me, I like it to be glittery, shimmery, almost all the way to my brow, on the inner half of my eye. I like that look. And then we're going to do an inner corner too, but I'll blend the very top with my blender brush so that that is blended, and we'll do the other eye. And see, I've used this, I've swatched this, what now, 3 times? I've used it 3 times, and the heart's almost gone. Not the most impressive shade I've ever seen, but it's okay. All right, I'll put it on the inner corner and pat at the top to get it all the way up there, and then we'll blend. Okay, we go. All right, inner corner for me is always a fun time. It's typically something that is wiped away by the middle of the day. I have itchy eyes, so I just enjoy it while I can. I got a product in one of my BoxyCharms. I subscribe to BoxyCharm regular and then Luxy. Is it premium? Lux? I don't know. It's 2 of them, and it. It's a crapshoot. You and I both know BoxyCharm is a crapshoot these days. But I got a product that is one of those Stila Glitter and Glow type of knockoffs, and it's in pink. It is from Studio Makeup. There's a brand we all know and trust. It's called an Endurance Cream Eyeshadow. It's just a pinky glittery thing. I like these for the inner corner because it's just the applicator. I don't have to find a really tiny brush to do this. I usually tuck it into my inner corner, and then if it gets really gloppy, I'll tap it out, but if it's not, I just leave it. And it offers some sort of value for getting these types of products because I'm using them, and I do it in inner corner every day, which I love. It's my favorite thing for eyeshadow because there's something fun about it. I don't know. And most of the time I do some sort of champagne pinky duochrome glittery thing, and it works every time. Like, so it's not, I'm not asking it to do a lot. I know that it's going to be gone in the middle of the day simply because of the nature of my face. So that is that. Let's see, do we want eyeliner today? I don't know. A lot of times I will take a palette, and if it's got a darker shade that I want to use, I will use a very small angled brush. I use eyeshadow as eyeliner almost all the time when I do a natural, like a kind of a neutral natural makeup look. It's not really natural for most of us, I know, but it is for me. It's not, you know, neon blue. That's the other 4 days of the week. But if I'm going to use, if I'm going to use an eyeshadow, I usually use a small angled brush. There's not a ton of dark colors here. Well, maybe let's try this one. Maryland, but it's smelled funny. Let's try that one. It's not picking up very well. Let's try again. Okay. Let's see if we can actually get any on here. For some reason, I always start eyeliner on my non-dominant eye, my left eye. I don't know why. It just is. And all I do is just push this color right down onto my lash line, all the way across. I know there are some folks that use gel eyeliner every day, or pen liner, felt liner, a brush tip liner, like in a pen format every day. I have a few of those that I do like, but if I'm going to do eyeliner on a day like today, I'm going to use eyeshadow. It's quick, it's easy. This is not very dark, but there is a color differentiation. It offers a little bit of thickness to the base of my lash line, and I'll take it for today. I usually try if there's a black or a dark brown. That's usually the color I go to, but I will do a purple or a navy depending on the colors that are in the palette that I'm using. Okay, next up, let's do eyelashes. So I love that trick where you put your eyelash curler like in your bra or under your arm for an amount of time to warm it up, because I can't do the whole heated one that you actually, like they sell. I'm not doing that. And the blow dryer seems like a great way to burn my eyelid, so I don't do that either. But 99 out of 100 times I forget to do it. So it's cold. Here we are. Real life. I have to curl my lashes in order for them to have any semblance of noticeability, because my lashes don't go down and they don't go up. They go straight out from my face. I had a lash lift once. It's terrifying. Through no fault of the estheticians. She was lovely. It was not that. It was that I didn't realize that my eyes would be glued shut in a very busy room of a salon, because I didn't think it through, y'all. And so it was a little bit tough to have your eyelashes permed, because your eyeballs are shut the entire time and things are happening around you and you can't see. And when you have anxiety, being forced to be blinded in the middle of a salon with lots of people and a dog. There was a dog there. Poppy. He was lovely. If he would have been with me, it would have been better, but I didn't know where he was. So it gave me great anxiety. So I had a lash lift. It worked really well for one of my eyeballs. Well, not the eyeball, my eyelashes, for, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks. The other one, it fell like in 3 days. So I looked really wonky then, because one of my eyelashes were curled beautifully, or one of my eyes, and the other one was not at all. Pointed straight out again. I'm going to use a mascara that we all know and love. And if you don't know and love it, please go get it. I think the normal stock price at Ulta or Target or Walmart, I don't know if it's at Walmart, I don't makeup shop at Walmart, but the normal stock price is less than $5, $4.99 or less. But at Ulta, the brand goes on buy one, get one 50% off or 40% off or whatever. They do that quite frequently. So this is the one product that I'm going to tell you out of this Get Ready With Me that you need to purchase if you have never purchased it before and you like lashes. This is the Essence Lash Princess. It's the green one. It's the one we all know. It's false lash effect. It is not waterproof by any means. So, you know, when I cry, not if, when I cry, I will have a little bit of movement on my outer lashes. Again, I told you I have itchy eyes, so I try really hard not to scratch them, but I'm a human and I'm gonna scratch them. So I normally don't put mascara on my lower lash line or eyeliner or any eyeshadow or anything unless I'm going for a very specific look. I leave it blank. I like the way that my eyes look without anything underneath, but you do you. You can do whatever, smudge whatever, put anything. I do tight line and waterline when I want. Today is not one of those days that I want, so I'm not going to do it. So I just do the lashes on the top. And I think it looks okay. I think we look okay. All right, last up is lips. And then we're going to spray our face again. So we're going to let that eyeshadow, that mascara dry. I might put a second coat, I might not. The first coat with this is most mascaras, it takes 2 to 3 coats to get it to look like this. And so sometimes I just go with one coat and I'm done. All right, lips. This is one of my most embarrassing cosmetic products, and I'm going to share it with you because we're friends. This one's not. This is a Jordana Easyliner. This is in Rock and Rose. It is a twistable lip liner, which I like. It's not too creamy. It's the perfect, I have to line my lips, like, well, not have to, but I really want to line my lips if I'm going to wear any lip color, even if it's a neutral, whatever, because I have freckles that form on my lip line, and so it makes me look like I can't do lipstick. So I always line with something similar to my lip color, which is kind of a beigey, rusty rose. So I'm gonna line with that. I can't talk, so I'm gonna line with that. I also have one side of my Cupid's bow that is higher than the other and shaped differently because God just thought I needed the extra challenge on a daily basis to make my lips look anywhere near symmetrical. Thanks. This is the embarrassing product. Please do not do as I do. Don't do this. But I do it. This is one of my favorite lipstick colors of all time. It is, you're going to get a disease. Do not do, I'm telling you, don't do this, but I do it. It's the Fergie Wet n Wild collection. This is Fergie Daily. It is, I can't tell you how old. It's disgusting. Please don't do this. But I do. And this is my backup. I've used one up completely. This is the only backup that I had, and I'm going to use it. I'm just flying close to the sun. All right. It is one of my favorite colors of nude. It is a beigey, slightly pinky nude. I'm going to do that thing where you do it with your finger. And I'm going to wipe it on my washcloth because that's what that's there for. It is lighter than the lip liner, but it is it's a neutral nude on me. I don't do really well with peachy nudes. My complexion does not look very well with peachy nudes. And the pinky nudes are kind of the same. It just looks a little bit, I don't know, weird plastic lips, which I don't love. I do much better with brown and beigey brown for a lighter color. So this is a pretty good one for me, and I want to use it because it means a lot to me. It's disgusting. Let's spray one more time because I like the smell. See, I shake it every time, but there's no shaking. It doesn't do anything to shake it, which is a mind trip. So now I smell like peach candy. I wish it tasted like peach candy. Wouldn't that be better? All right. Let me put my glasses on and we're done. I will go fix my hair, but I don't know that I'll actually come back and show you. You're just gonna have to trust that I'm gonna fix my hair. Look at that. Look at that. I can't even do that thing that girls do that they're like, oh, I mean, it's just a frizzy mess. I have to actually go do it. But there it is. There it is. My go-to natural makeup look. Oh, it's all right, right? It'd be fine. It'd be all right. Thanks for joining me. I'm glad you hung out. Leave any comments that you have below about some of the products that I used today. Any questions that you have, I'll be happy to answer them. And thanks for supporting my channel. If you haven't already, click subscribe. I'll make some more videos. Thanks, y'all. Have a great day.